Okay.
All
Yeah,
right,
fun
here
show.
we are.
Fun
Yeah,
show. That
very
last
good.
story. That last story
That's
was.
so crazy.
It was fun.
God.
It was fun how it organically, like we had to figure it out at the end. I found it minutes before the show started.
That's really funny. That the last line was, "Oh, and by the way, he was adopted."
They waited to the very end.
It was like, ew.
Yeah, maybe you should lead with that kind of thing,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
It was so funny when I told you about this.
Couldn't believe it.
I'm looking from the angle of, oh my God, what a great story on it. What are the chances out of 1 billion people they find it? And you're like, gross.
I'm like, what's wrong with you, Barry? What happened?
Oh God, it's funny. I don't know what there's all kinds of things I actually have in my notes that I didn't get to because I just didn't feel like it, there's another kind of nice story about this woman who can't swim, rescued an elderly man who fell into the harbor in New York. But I don't feel like talking about that.
Wow.
But it was
that
cool.
Sounds pretty cool.
I mean, brave. The guy, really elderly, looks like he slipped and fell, went into the harbor and was floating and started to drift away. So she just felt, hey, man, she had no choice. She had to jump in there and let it happen. You're okay. I was going to say you're a little fuzzy, but you just autofocused.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. So
I was going to tell you about a movie that I just saw last night that I thought was really good, and it was called Resistance, and it's a 2020 movie, and it's starring Jesse Eisenberg.
Okay.
And this is a story that is about it's actually about the mime. His name is Marcel Marceau, and he's actually the most famous mime out there. And and I've seen him before. He's passed
I
away.
know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's passed away now, I believe. But but I didn't know this about him, that he was part of the French Resistance, and that he is personally responsible for saving maybe thousands of Jewish children that were set to be executed by the Nazis by getting them across the border into Switzerland. And this movie is extremely dramatic. And it's funny because I caught the second half of it, and then I ended up watching the whole thing. So I caught the second half of it. And anytime there's a World War II movie on and there's Nazis in there and it catches my attention, I was like, get those Nazis, I love that. And that's usually what happens at the end of the movie. So I can't wait to see how they meet their demise. And anyway, and I'm thinking this is just a movie made up and everything. And at the end, this guy does a performance for the troops at the end of the war, and they introduce him as Marcel Marceau. And we were like, oh my God, this is about him. Like, I just thought he was a mime, and I ended up watching the whole movie after that.
So it's really good though.
Watch the movie.
Okay.
It's boy, it'll capture your heart. And this guy playing the part, Jesse Eisenberg, probably his best role. He was spectacular in that whole thing. So
well, that's good to know. And I'm going to guess that it's on HBO Max.
Let's see here. I'm looking at it. You can get it on Prime.
Cool.
Amazon Prime. You can get it on. It comes on Showtime and something called Vudu, VUDU. I
never heard of it.
You can buy it there, I guess.
That's cool.
But yeah,
I'm
you
gonna
can
watch
get it on Amazon Prime. It's a very good movie. Very good movie.
Yeah. I want to share something because I really love when we share those things.
I do too.
I think it's fun. I got one as well that I want to share with you, and but I wanted to share this for a moment.
Oh, I love that.
Well, I'm dying to use it, and I do have another consumer recommendation, but also, Merle, along these lines, and I need to see how it shows up on our screen in post. But along these lines, I want to do a TV show and movie review one. So
that would be a good one.
Check this out.
Sort of our Siskel and Ebert.
Yeah. So I'm going to put a Hollywood background. So I need a picture of you, like get up against the blank wall and have Anne-Marie take a couple pictures and email them to me.
All right.
Don't text them, email. Look at this.
Oh, look at that.
All right, wait a minute,
That's
wait a minute.
funny.
Watch this one. There, that's
Oh,
for
look
my
at that.
that's my movie review one. So I need one like for you on the other side. I don't want to make like separate ones. Just to be I don't know. We'll call it something cool. But we got our little intro graphic. I think that would be fun.
I kind of like that. I think I don't know if you saw that in my email, but boy, you got a big hand right there.
Oh, I know. I thought about maybe I should flop it so it doesn't look confusing. But on the other hand, I don't need to take this too seriously. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just all in fun. So I lost my notes. Oh, but I wanted to tell you because I didn't want to tell you about my recommendation.
Your
And
movie.
it's actually a TV show, a terrific TV show, and I
Oh
get
yeah.
so excited when I finally find one that's good because they're
I
few
hear
and far
you.
between.
They are.
You'll love this one, and it's on Prime. It's
Okay. Good.
called Louder Milk.
That sounds familiar.
I just read what their description is. Centers on Sam Loudermilk, a recovering alcoholic and substance abuse counselor with an extremely bad attitude. It's so good.
Who's the star of that?
I don't know his name. It's on Prime. You got to check it out. So it was on some other obscure channel. It was their biggest hit.
Right.
But the channel went out of business, so they didn't find they missed a season. They only had 3 seasons, and then it went away for a year. Prime found it and picked it up, and now they're going to do season 4. Thank God, because this is so good. Like right out of the gate, you'll love the first. I mean, from the very first episode, this guy is just like such an average, everyday guy, and kind of says all the things that we think but don't say, and everybody's just constantly like, oh, this guy, oh, he's such an asshole. They say that, they'll say it right to his face. And he's like, but of course, in the end, he's actually always doing good. Like he's helping people and stuff. It's a really good show.
I think I've seen the preview for this show, and that's what I remember. For some reason, the name really struck a chord with me. Louder Milk.
Well, I know. I've thought about it,
and I liked the preview, and I thought I want to watch that, and then I didn't know where to find it. So this is pretty cool.
Yeah. And I've done a lot of thinking about, you always hear you often hear these TV show or movie names that are strange that you go, what? And Louder Milk is certainly one.
Yeah.
Because it makes you intrigued. Like, what the heck? So it sticks in your head.
It does, actually.
And all they needed to do was make the guy's last name Louder Milk. I'm sure like they were in a conference call or something and going, well, what's strange? We got to get it something strange, and let's just put 2 words together. What's the first word that comes to mind? Loud. Yeah. Milk. I'm drinking milk. That's how it was done for sure. I remember like when Gone Girl came out with Ben Affleck's movie, which was a very good movie, but it was the same thing to me. Like, what the heck is that? Gone Girl. Is it a phrase
about it? Yeah, there's something about the name
it's odd.
What is
it? Yeah, and then once you watch it, you get it, kind of thing. So yeah, I think that kind of stuff's interesting. One of these days we are going to do our impressions. I have like 2. I only have like 2, maybe 3. We won't have to do that today. I just keep putting that in your head.
You're thinking
about
what impression can I do?
Oh, I got a good one. I do have one good one. Doesn't sound like me whatsoever. You want me to do it?
Yeah, try it out.
All right. It's Melvin the Martian from Bugs Bunny.
Oh, I love.
You remember that little guy? His feet would go like a billion.
Yeah.
I'll shoot you with my super duper space modulator. I will kill you with my ray gun. Yeah. So I got that.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Alf, me. Hey, Willie, where's the cat?
I love that. Actually, it's pretty good.
I could sub for the normal guy anytime.
How about this one? Wilbur doesn't love me anymore.
Who is that?
That's Mr. Ed.
Oh, I never watched that. But
Wilbur.
Now that you mentioned it. Okay.
All right.
Who I know this one like from Bugs Bunny. I grew up on Bugs Bunny cartoons.
Yeah, me too. I love Bugs Bunny.
Who was the one to be like, hey, Ralphie boy, over here. Hey, Ralphie.
Well, that's from the Honeymooners, but they'd always have these cartoon characters that would be Ralph and what was the other guy's name?
What was it? I forget.
Norton.
Right. So they would have shoot off characters. Yeah. So that's where that's from.
That was
it's kind of Yogi Bearish too, though. Like, hey, boo boo. How do you talk?
That's pretty good. Yeah, it was just like that.
Hey, let's go get the picnic baskets. Something like that. That's about all I got.
That was Yogi, actually.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
And then Boo Boo was like, I don't think that's right, Yogi.
That was good.
That was a blast from the past.
Yeah, it was. I miss Bugs Bunny cartoons.
So do I. They were so good. I mean, I would watch that today.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was seriously
you can't find
high
it on
art.
TV anywhere.
I never watched TV, but you know what? As I say that, you could catch that. I'm sure
you can pull
catch
it up on YouTube or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure of it. Yeah.
It's weird that I want to watch it on TV, but I've got YouTube, and I never just. Oh, let's put in some Bugs Bunny. Like,
I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Right. I got another movie for you that I thought was pretty good. I wouldn't say great, and it didn't get good reviews, but it's kind of stuff that I like. It's called Jumper, 2008 on Prime, and it's about a teenager with teleportation abilities finds himself in the middle of an ancient war between those like him and their sworn annihilators. So there's this, I guess it's kind of dumb because you see these guys, the movie is about these people that are teleporting from place to place all the time, and they'll all of a sudden pop up in the middle of Beijing or something. And well, we never, and then the backstory is, these people like you have been around for thousands of years. And well, we've never seen somebody do that. So, but it's kind of cool. Like something traumatizes this kid as a teenager. And because he's like reading this library book or whatever, he transports to the library. He's like, what the heck happened? The effects are really good.
I've seen this actually. Yeah.
This
sounds familiar to me.
And so he starts learning how to control it because at first he doesn't know what's happening. And when you get excited, so he starts controlling it. And then, the bad guys, the ones that want to kill teleporters, learn about him. And so they start trying to track him down to kill him. And Samuel L. Jackson, of course, plays that guy because he has to be in every movie. But the effects are incredible. Like when towards the end, the last third or so, the last act, they're doing all of these fights and they're teleporting like everywhere in the world as they're fighting. That's the thrilling part. That's worth watching.
Wow. It's like a thrilling kind of a movie. It's not like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
No. It's a thriller. Yeah. It's an action adventure.
Yeah. Cool.
Speaking of stuff that I want to see just for the coolness aspect, not the story, but the new Kong versus Godzilla that just came out.
Brandon, my son, is he says he can't wait to see that one.
And same here.
He's a big Godzilla fan too from way back.
Oh, now see, I was so disappointed back. I think we were just out of college. I remember I was living downtown in that loft at this time when that old Godzilla movie came out, and it was, the merchandise of it, the marketing of it, bigger is better.
Right.
And so it was all about how gigantic he was, and the effects are great and everything, but the movie kind of bombed.
It really wasn't that good of a movie.
No, it wasn't.
That was too bad. They had a lot of good actors in it.
Yeah, they did. See, for me, those kind of movies, whether it's King Kong actually had a good human element to it, so it could bring in. But that's my point. So Godzilla and stuff, even growing up, like I'd have friends that loved Godzilla on the Saturday afternoon, whatever.
Exactly.
I hated the human part of it. You got to have humans in there for a storyline. I wanted to see Godzilla fight something at the end.
Right.
But just like the movies, I always thought the human storyline part was a real drag. And
Well, it actually, that was really why I didn't like those movies. My
yeah,
brother was a
same.
big Godzilla movie
I could
guy,
see
and
that.
and so here's something that would happen on Saturdays is that my mom and dad would run errands. They'd wake up and they'd say, "Hey, here's the list of all the billion things you have to do today, and we're gonna be back. And when we get back, all these things better be done.
Yeah.
And we're not going to tell you what time we're coming back. Get to work." And so that's a, and so
That's a good
so,
tactic, though. That teaches you to
yeah,
not procrastinate.
totally worked on us, you know.
Yeah.
And so we were like sweating, you know, when are they going to be back? And then they wouldn't come back for like 9 hours. And so there was, and, oh yeah, they would tell us that we were not allowed to have friends over and we weren't allowed to leave the house. So now we're trapped together for
Wow.
9 hours, nothing to do. And you can
Wow.
imagine that, you know, we become restless, you know, and then
Yeah.
we start picking on each other and then we end up wrestling.
Yeah.
But Scott he'd want to watch these Godzilla movies. There'd be nothing to do, and all that would be on was a dumb Godzilla movie, and
Yeah.
he liked them, and I would just be so bored.
Yes, me too.
Boring.
Yeah.
And I'd like be throwing stuff at the back of his head. Stop it, Merle. Just that's how we'd end up wrestling.
Yes, yes. But I'll say when I get hold of that movie, whenever it is, the Godzilla Kong one, yeah, I'll probably fast forward to the human parts, but it's supposed to be. All the reviews are like a thriller ride, almost nonstop action, great fights. I on YouTube watched a lot of the promos and stuff. Oh, that does look fantastic. The action scene.
How about it? Yeah. So Brandon, I got to say, he's a very good movie critic. He watches a lot of movies, and everyone he's ever recommended to me, I've liked. So
Nice.
he thinks this one's going to be a good one. And,
Well, the reviews are pretty good. Yeah.
oh, that's pretty cool. You brought up King Kong, and I just wanted to say that you know, that's one of my favorite old movies.
Yeah.
And I thought, and you know, they did that remake back in the 70s with Jeff Bridges in it, and I didn't really like that one.
I didn't either.
But the one that they did a few years back that had Jack Black in it, that was excellent.
It was.
That was a great movie.
Yeah.
See that?
No, I agree. It's a classic for sure. It's the man versus nature kind of theme to it, and it's got a heart to it, you know.
Yeah, and there's something about the remake that they did with this King Kong movie. They did something with the filming to make it look like it was old, but it wasn't black and white. Check that out. I thought that was interesting.
I didn't notice that, but as you say it, I would say what they probably did was reduce the saturation of the color a bit.
I think that's what they did. It was a really cool effect. And then here's something else that I just found out that's interesting. One of the greatest scenes in that movie, the remake, was they had fallen off of that tree limb, which was in the original. You know, they were trying to cross over that chasm, and then King Kong comes and shakes them. They fall down into the thing. But in the remake, they're down in that chasm. Many of them live when they fall down there.
Right.
And then these giant, horrible bugs come out.
Spiders,
and they got to battle these. Yeah, there were spiders. There were these things that looked like big slugs that had these horrible teeth that like would grab onto your arm and suck you down. It was gross and it was horrifying. It turns out that scene was in the original movie, and the director of the movie ended up showing it as a test to a particular audience, and they reacted to that part of the movie with it was overwhelming for them.
I could see at that time.
So they took that part of the movie out, and apparently they must have thrown it out, but they had storyboarded it, and that was saved. And so the people that remade it decided to add the part in based on the storyboard. And it was a great effect in that movie. In fact, it was probably the most memorable part of the movie.
Agreed.
It was so crazy.
It was creepy, crazy. I can't imagine how back in that day they would have done that effect.
It just brought down everybody. Like it was too scary for them.
Agreed.
And morbid, because several people are killed down there, and it's just
you remember the famous, absolutely famous shower scene of Psycho.
Yes,
that scared the
I love
heck
Alfred
out of
Hitchcock movies.
Yeah. but by today's standards, nobody'd even remember that scene.
Not
You
at
know what I
all.
mean?
You know, you watch that scene, and you're right. But my mom told me that people didn't take showers after that,
Ah,
but it's so you know, like you said, by today's standards, it's
we're
so
desensitized. Yeah.
we are desensitized. We're told,
Absolutely.
you
Do you
know,
remember though? You talk about something that stands the test of time. Do you remember the first time that you saw The Exorcist?
that one still gets me.
Me too. That's my point. It still stands the test
I
of
got it.
time. That's
Chill
the
in the back of
scariest
my
movie.
neck just then when you said it.
Scariest movie I ever saw.
Me
Hands
too.
down. Hands down.
What was the scariest part for you?
Uh, Probably when she turned her head around.
Yeah, that was messed up. Mine is when she comes down the stairs and she's you know how you could crawl on your hands and feet?
Yeah.
She's doing it backwards and she's going down the steps that way.
Yeah.
This was not in the, again, a scene not in the original, but it was filmed and they added it to the movie, back into the movie. So if you see that today, it's towards the beginning and she comes running down those steps backwards like that. I don't know how they did that. It's so freaky looking.
Probably filmed it in reverse. I mean,
I don't know how anybody could even walk that way to begin with. It's so unnatural looking, and I don't know if they're using trick photography. That's such an old term, trick photography.
Yeah, well, they didn't have a lot at their disposal.
No, they didn't.
Back then. So yeah,
so it's really.
But I would watch
part.
it again as we're talking about it. I'd watch it.
Yeah, you know, it's based off of a so-called true story.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of stories with a lot of evidence of possession. Yeah.
In the true story, it's actually a boy that this happens to, and there's a priest, and I don't know if the priest was killed at the end, like in The Exorcist, but there's definitely a thing out there that's real that you know is. You don't want to dabble with that stuff, man.
No, I wouldn't
want any of those guys, any of those things following you home.
No, not at all. Not at all. And that makes me think about something. I was watching a show on Amazon Prime or Netflix, but it follows supernatural stuff. Each episode is about some other supernatural thing. And so there were a lot of each show has about 3 different stories from people that are being interviewed, and they did a show or 2 on ghosts and I'm trying to think, no, not possession, but definitely ghosts and trying to get rid of them. And I don't know, what do you think about ghosts?
So I believe that there's definitely a spirit world that is real, maybe even more real than this temporal world that we live in.
Maybe.
According to my Bible, that as far as somebody that dies and goes to, you know, heaven, there or even hell, that there's no way for them to come back and interact with you. However, I do believe that there are demons out there that are real. The Bible makes that clear. And I do know that they're all around, just like angels are all around, and they do a study on you. You know, they know you, they know your family, they know who you are. And so they could easily pretend to be a ghost of your relative and get you all screwed up that way. I do believe that happens, and you know, you go back to that movie, The Exorcist. Although it was a movie, it was based on a story that was true, and you remember that the demon acts like the priest's mother at one point, and he thinks he's talking to his mother, and the mother is telling him things that are demonic, that are actually stealing his faith, and that's exactly what the demonic world wants to do.
That's interesting. So now, as you're talking, I remember one of those stories in that show was this girl. You know, she's older now, but she's talking about, and there are different witnesses in here too, like her mother and stuff. But how when they moved into this old house, that in her room, she would see at night an old lady in a wedding dress, a kind of dirty wedding dress, walk by her room all the time, and she was really creepy. An old lady in a dirty wedding dress, but
I got a chill from that.
she was trying to get into her room but couldn't or something. But then one night this creepy witch wedding dress lady entered the room, or opened the door and was going to enter the room, and she said this a bright light happened and an angel came and was just like throwing energy out to get the spirit to go away, and it worked. And
I believe that kind of stuff happens in the unseen,
yeah,
because I do know that angels battle demons and overcome them. I know also that there's more angels than demons.
that's good to know.
According to the Bible, a third of the angels were cast down. So there's 2/3 more angels than demons. So that's a thing too. Hey, I wanted to just bring this up. Have you seen any of those celebrity ghost stories on television?
No, I know what you're talking about. It's on Prime, I think, or
Yeah.
Netflix, and I just
Yeah.
scroll past it. I don't
Okay,
care
and you
about
should. You
celebrity.
should.
Yeah.
Well, but here's what's funny is that so I got the privilege of knowing Bernie Capel here in Los Angeles, and he's the guy that played Doc on Love Boat. And real nice guy.
I bet.
And I actually got a turkey recipe from him and made the recipe, and it was outstanding.
Yeah.
And so one day, so Anne Marie and I both know him, and one day we're watching television, and it's Celebrity Ghost Stories, and it's Bernie, and he's
Really?
talking about this experience that he had. And I remember at the end of the show, we were both chilled, like, oh my God, that happened to
Really?
Bernie. And so we ended up seeing him, I don't know, maybe a few months later. And what tell us about that terrifying ghost story that happened. He goes, oh, it was all acting. That was a script I was reading. And
Really?
I was so ticked off. Like,
Oh!
no, that's not right. I didn't say this to him, but I'm like, but you didn't say that you acted like that really happened to you. This wasn't you pretending to be somebody else. This was you being you, saying that you had this ghost experience, and we believed it.
I think that's very unethical. I mean, if they're pumping that out in the guise of truth, I don't know, man. That's to me, it's like along the lines of plagiarism or something.
Well, it's just that's acting. I mean, that's what these guys do is act. But
if you put it out there,
but we thought it was a true story, and then it's like, okay. So then you start to think about that. And by the way, Bernie's a really nice guy. I like him. That's just the acting world and everything. No slam on him whatsoever. But that is what's happening out there. Yeah. And then I start thinking about this. You got all these actors out there that, they tell you, you should do this or you should do that, and this is morally unethical, and this is right, and this is wrong, and this is what they say. And you're like, wait a second, why should we be listening to you? You're an actor. You're a
pretender.
I was fooled by Bernie saying that he saw a ghost, and then I found out that there was no ghost and it was all fake. And these guys get paid to say whatever they say. So why they should be the most suspect. If an actor says something, that should be the most suspicious.
I was going to follow up with saying exactly that. When I see that kind of stuff, I am looking at it as I probably should believe the opposite. I know it's manipulation. They're not that well. Most of them aren't that well educated. And they're pretenders. I don't care what they say and what their policies are. Don't tell me how to think.
Right. And then when you look inside of their lives and what's happening in their lives, it's like, well, I don't want any of that. So why would I be following you down that road?
Yeah. I mean, I can't remember exactly what the commercial is, but there's something going around. I wanted to say on television, but I don't really. I watch the morning news. Maybe it's on television, but different famous actors are, how they pop this one in, and then the next one comes in, and then pop to different actors. Of course, Robert De Niro is one of them. Jennifer Lopez is one of them. It's some woke thing. I don't remember what it's about, but that stuff, it makes me angry, to be honest with you.
I gotta say that when COVID first started, they started to bombard us with a lot of celebrities that were saying, "I'm wearing my mask and I'm
Mm,
wearing mine too."
mm,
This is where I think they made a left turn.
mm.
Because for me, my knee-jerk reaction when I saw those people is they're lying to me because they
Yep,
lie to me all the time.
yep.
And so I think, say what you will about COVID, and I don't know exactly where the truth lies.
Mm,
Obviously, there's a thing happening out there that's really bad.
mm,
But when they start putting people out there that are notorious for not actually telling you the truth,
mhm.
whether it's innocent or not. I mean, look, you're an actor. You have scared the heck out of me pretending to be all of these different people. So now when you're being yourself, it's hard for me to tell if you're pretending or not. That's just a natural thing, right? And
Yeah,
so it just caused a lot of suspicion for a lot of people.
yeah.
And I go back to what we were talking about before about the 47% of Trump supporters that didn't want to take the vaccination. I don't think that had anything to do with Trump. He took the vaccination. He's the guy that invented the vaccination. So
Well,
you know what I mean? It
let's
was all these
set
people around that were
set
just
the
like saying these things.
record straight on that. All Trump supporters are not against the vaccination
No,
because I know
47%. That's what I said.
47% of
That's
Trump
what the polls
supporters.
are saying. Yes.
Okay, okay. I did just see. I see what you're saying. So about half of the Trump supporters.
Right,
Okay,
right.
because I know a
So
lot of
it
Trump
couldn't have been
supporters.
because of Trump, because Operation Warp Speed was his, and he and his wife took the vaccination and said, "Take the vaccination."
That's a
So
really good point. That's
it's
a
it's
really
it.
good point.
So why are 47% of the people saying this? It's because of all the background noise that was all around. If Trump told me to take the
Yes.
vaccination, I would never take it. And Operation Warp Speed, that makes it sound like we're reckless. That's what Fauci said.
Hmm, hmm.
And they cast all this doubt and dispersion over. Wait, dispersion. I don't know if that's right. They put all this doubt on it,
Yeah.
and so then it's like, okay, so I think in this party, in the conservative party, people are more free to just say, you know what, I don't believe that, or even though my guy is telling me this, I don't believe it. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
they're just,
it's back to the manipulation we talked in the first
yeah.
show. It's
And
it's
that's why
about
you
the
got half of those
polarization.
people that are just like, there's just something funny.
Yeah.
Even though Trump said this, even though all these other,
I don't think
I
it's
think I'm
really
gonna.
political. It's because I looked it up and
I think it's more like, what
the
the heck?
poll yeah, the polls say that 25% of the population are say that they are skeptical about the vaccine. A
Yeah.
quarter of the population. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It didn't say anything about politics in there. But
I think you're right. I don't
yeah,
think
I
it's
don't it's
politics
just more of that
because
manipulation to divide and conquer us.
they're trying to make it seem like it's a political thing, is what you're saying. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
totally agree with that. And when you take a look at, like, hey, the military, it was like a third of the people in the military didn't take the
Mm.
vaccination. Even in the medical community, it was a very high number of people that didn't
Well,
take the vaccination.
Lisa got her vaccine because at the hospital where she works, 40% of the people on the front line declined it. So they had
40. Yeah,
all that left over.
that's right.
So,
That's
but
right.
most of the administrative staff took it.
Yeah,
They were
so
all,
you,
so
you
it's
got to look
weird.
at that. I think
Yeah.
it's an interesting phenomenon,
Hmm.
and I think it's one of those things where I really think that should be treated with kid gloves.
Hmm.
That everybody's got to make the decision for themselves. Pete, there's a lot of factors here, health factors. Hey, by the way, I saw the video that you put together with your friends last week.
Oh.
And the guy that was kind of representing conservatives, he was making a point about, actually he said he was going to wait, but I
Hmm.
thought your friend Dan was making a great point of, hey, you just talked about all these comorbidities that you have. In other words,
Yeah.
he's the guy that was at high risk.
Yeah.
And I think those are he's right. Those are the very things you should consider when you're considering this vaccination or not, is are you in a high risk category? And if you
Hmm.
are, I think you got to think a lot more seriously about taking this sooner as opposed to later.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the people that fall outside of those things are people that can kind of lay back and wait and see what's going to happen here.
I agree with you, but I can't wait. I think it's next week. I think 1 week from today, I get my second dose, and I can't wait to get that behind me because
I bet.
I'm so sick of the mask. Back to what you said a few minutes ago, like Fauci, when everybody took a left with this, when Fauci came out, first of all, his waffling on when we hit herd immunity, and he moves
Yeah,
the
that was
goalpost,
bad. That was
real
bad.
bad. But him coming out with those stupid two masks on, one black and one white, so
Are you
see them
kidding?
both. Right
Yeah.
there, it's
Talk
like,
about virtue signaling.
yes, the ultimate. And I was done with him right there. I'm, we've had beautiful weather for whatever reason this March and April. Like right now, it's gorgeous. It has been all week. Walking around that nature center where I do the,
I bet that's awesome.
yeah, but not with a mask on in 75-degree weather. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of it completely.
I am too. And the two mask thing, I mean, I don't know
That's
if people
ridiculous.
if people are doing that in Cleveland or not. But
no, I've never seen anyone do that.
Yeah,
of course,
doing it out here.
Of course they are.
Yeah, my landlord came over with two masks on.
I can't believe that. I'm embarrassed for you guys. I really am.
I know it was kind of a funny thing, but they'd had their vaccinations.
Really,
he and his wife, yeah, and they were wearing two masks, both of them.
See, that's what I want to. I am responsible about this. I can't wait to get that second vaccination so I can feel like I did my part. I'm safe. I want to throw the middle finger up now to everybody that wants to give me a wrong look if I'm not wearing a mask.
Well,
I want to get beyond it.
Okay, so it's one thing to have to wear the masks when you go into a store, but out here it's like if you're not wearing it, just walking around in everyday life outside, you're gonna get the looks. And so back to be immune to the shaming. I practice that every day. I walked up to the store yesterday, and it's a shopping center. So as soon as I got to the center, it didn't matter if I was outside. Everybody was wearing a mask, and I had to really hold on. I'm outside.
Yes.
I don't care. I'm outside. I'll wear my mask when I go into the building, but I'm outside. That's why I came outside. It's nice out here. I want to enjoy it.
Right.
I think that we've gotten to a point of ridiculous here.
Agreed. I just thought, hey man, I'm going to pull up that chart and see how you guys, California is doing. I look at this stuff about every other day, the statistics, and I just want to see, geez, Ohio's got a small, we had the creep down, and it's what, I'll share it with you. But it looks like it could possibly slowly start to be ticking upward, and I hate to report that. So this is Ohio, you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to California, check it out. Then we'll go to Texas. Oh, look at you guys. Way, way, way down there. So yeah, it's time to start relaxing.
Well, the governor actually made an announcement this week and said that the plan was that everything would be opened by June. And now lots of things have opened up. The gyms opened up within the last week. So
good.
Yeah. So
he doesn't want to lose his job.
Well, that's really what's going on.
That's really
exactly. They got enough signatures for the recall to happen, which will happen in the early fall. And so he's got a tough battle there. Here's the crazy part about Newsom is that he's up for re-election in 2022. So he's going to have to, if he wins the recall, he's going to have to double down and start campaigning immediately after that for the election that's coming on the heels of that. So that's going to be very costly for him. He's going to get beat up if he does win the recall, he's really going to get beat up because he's going to have a lot of information is going to be exposed through the election by his opponent. Oh, by the way, Caitlyn Jenner is running for governor.
Okay. I don't doubt that. It is
going to be interesting. He's a Republican. I mean, she's a Republican. Sorry.
So this is Texas chart. And that looks good. I mean, that's going in the right direction.
I mean, they just got the no mask mandate they eliminated the mandate over a month ago, and they're still ticking down.
Look at Alabama. Wow, they
Yeah,
conquered
a
quite a
big hurdle. Yeah.
yeah. What else you want to see?
Florida.
Okay, that's a
There
good
it
one.
is, right
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, I'll tell you what. There, right. Looking at that chart, that little bit of an uptick is support for the fear about all those spring breakers going crazy. I was wondering what would happen.
Mm, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I
Last year
mean,
that was a thing.
yeah. So, yeah, it's there's some evidence there that we don't, the kind of evidence we don't want, but there is some
Yeah.
evidence that we can't be going too crazy here. Got to be
Yeah.
careful. What else you
Yeah.
want to see?
Yeah. Now that's look at Arizona. Go back up and go to
That's a
Arizona.
good, yeah, that's definitely a good one.
You know,
Because the dry heat and everything. Oh,
yeah,
and the
they're
sunshine.
way down.
Way,
Yeah.
way down, but maybe there's just a tiny little bit of a comeback there. But no, it's
It looks like the trends are pretty good across the country right now.
I want to see
I
Alaska.
wonder, they talk about these new
Oof,
that's interesting.
it is such a
Yeah.
cold, gray climate.
Yeah. Well, and it's so beautiful in the summer there.
That's
Oh,
what I hear.
well,
Yeah,
I went
yeah,
on
for about 2
vacation there one
weeks.
time. No,
Yeah.
it's actually if you go middle of June to middle of August
Mm,
is about where you want to go. And
mm.
oh my gosh, I went I could not believe how beautiful it is up
Did you do
there.
one of those cruises?
I did.
Yeah.
We did a 2 week thing. This was about, gosh, it was maybe 15 years ago now, a long time ago. But we did the cruise through the Straits and up to. We ended up doing that for a week, and then we did the land part for a week, and ended up going to Anchorage and through Anchorage up to Fairbanks, and we went
Nice.
to Denali National Park. It was, whew, God, that was amazing. Amazing.
Really? I have
Yes.
never had any desire to go there.
Me neither. My mother-in-law treated the whole family.
Yeah.
So this was the most amazing vacation. So
Oh.
I found out from Anne Marie, oh, she's going to take us to Alaska. And I'm like, Alaska? Why would we want to go there? Well, they say it's beautiful. I'd never
Mm,
heard that before.
hmm.
It's the best kept secret. Let me tell you, that was amazing. And I'll tell you, I mean, there's so many highlights. One of them was Glacier National Park.
Mm.
Is huge. You're in this bay, Glacier Bay, and it's a bay, and there's just it's like going to the a bay where there's a beach,
Hmm.
but it's just glaciers, these huge glaciers, and while you're
Wow.
there, we got really treated. A big portion of a glacier cracked off and fell into the ocean, and it
Really?
sounded like thunder. I mean, just this crack, crack, crack,
Oh
boom,
yeah, I
like the beat
bet.
of it, boom, and then you saw it just like almost like in slow motion, this big piece of like a cliff, and it fell into the ocean, and then it made this amazing wave that we were
Oh
impacted
yeah.
by. Uh,
Yeah.
it was really, really, really cool.
That sounds really, really
We
cool.
saw all kinds of whales and stuff, and then on the land part of this cruise, or the land part of the vacation, I mean, we saw every kind. We saw moose, we saw grizzly bears,
Nice.
we ate fantastic food. Man, if you want to get
Wow.
away from it all, go there in the summer. I was so bummed when we landed at LAX, and I was waiting
Mm.
for my luggage, and I remember just it felt like it was probably 11 o'clock at night, and it's always busy there. It felt like people were pressed up against me. Several people stepped on
Mm.
my shoes. That'll never happen to you in Alaska. No one's
I
going to step
bet.
on your shoes. There's hardly anybody there.
Yeah, I
I
bet.
wanted to go back. Like,
This
put me
is
back on that plane.
this is a place I've been really, really dying to go. Not far from Alaska. It's Vancouver.
Oh, it's beautiful there. So that's
Yeah.
where we started our cruise. So we
Wow,
went to
really?
Vancouver. Yeah, we
Check
went,
this
and so
out.
we stayed there for a night, and then took the. It is a jewel. It's
Yeah.
so beautiful. The city is pristine.
Oh,
I mean, it is so clean there,
yeah.
and there's a vibe there that's really great and energetic. And I mean, in fact, this one on the right, that picture on the right, where the kind
This-
of looks like the tent, that
Yeah.
the tent thing down below that, that's right where the ship launched from. Right there. That's
Wow.
right where we launched from.
That looks like a photo from that major city in Australia.
Oh yeah, Sydney.
Yeah. That's it looks like
Probably
that.
copying off of that. Yeah.
Yeah, but what a pretty
Oh,
pretty
it's
city. They shoot a
beautiful.
lot of movies and TV shows there
I don't
in
blame them.
Vancouver.
That'd be
Yeah,
a great place to live, actually.
I would. Yeah, Lisa and
It's
I got
just
to go there,
absolutely beautiful there.
and it's really close to Seattle too, isn't it?
It is. It is
Yeah,
very close.
yeah. So yeah, I want to check that out someday. Bucket list.
Great pictures. Yeah,
Yeah,
do it. We'll
yeah.
meet you up there because we want to
Hey,
go too.
cool. Very. That would be so fun.
It would
We
be.
should go.
Okay.
Because it's well, I got work to do.
Me too.
All right, dude. You got anything cool up for the weekend?
We're doing our Bible study tomorrow, and I'm hosting it this time, so it's going to be a little bit different. Boy, what a busy week! We had 3 podcasts this week, and then tomorrow I'm hosting the Bible study. So we're doing something a little different this time. I'm doing sort of an open mic thing. We usually have a subject, and then somebody comes in and kind of does a little bit of teaching on it, and then we have a conversation back and forth. This time I'm going to take it in a different direction and just let the Holy Spirit guide us and let us kind of lead into whatever comes naturally and just kind of do a free for all. And we're going to see how that goes. And I think it's going to be excellent.
Oh, it will be excellent. You're really good at that. No, that's for sure. It's kind of like when I ask you to do a prayer, and it just you let it happen, and it's amazing. It's always perfect.
Thank you for saying that. And I got to tell you, when I do that, I never think of what I'm going to say. I just let God speak through me. And I'm actually listening to what I'm saying too, because I'm like, what? Wow.
I didn't know I knew that word.
Yeah.
Just if you start speaking in tongues, watch out. Yeah.
Well, that's it's going to be great, and we're looking forward to what God has in store for us. And so then after that, it'll be probably Monday before we know it, but I definitely want to get on the motorcycle at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll meet with my brother, hanging out with Anne Marie. Always looking forward to that. So
yeah. Well, I'm still in work mode over here. I mean, I'm running out of time, and I got a lot to do. So I'm just doing home repair type stuff, and it's trying to stay on top of
love.
It is, and my regular work in between. So been very busy.
Yeah,
gotta go, brother.
All right, great stuff, man.
Yeah,
Talk to you later. Love you, man.